Welcome, everybody. We are here with another Pemberton Family Legacy interview. I am your host, Elmira, and we have a fascinating guest tonight. I think he's going to share some wisdom, some stories, a whole lot of goodness for us. Please introduce yourself, tell us about your lineage, and I'll have you open up with that.
All right. Hello, everyone, family. I am Lawrence Pemberton, the fourth child of James and Elmira Pemberton. Uh, my sister, that's older than me, she died shortly after birth. So we really didn't get to know her or to even see her. But therefore, throughout my growing up, I was the third oldest child. So, and I'm still here, still kicking. Uh, so, yeah, I hope to give you a little insight on my life, what I've done, and these 78 years that I've been here.
Oh, 78! Woo woo.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's 79 in November.
Yes, coming around the corner, coming around the corner. Well, tell me, I know you said you want to give us some insight about like your life and all of that. What do you remember or what stands out with your upbringing? Like all of this, do you remember anything? I know you said you were talking about being the third oldest and all of that. What stands out about your upbringing? Any stories or moments?
Well, I guess the thing that my earliest memory of my growing up was just before I started grade one, first grade, because back then we didn't have kindergarten, so you went straight from the field at home to first grade, and my mother and her sister, Adlee Brown, uh, they came to visit. Adlee came to visit my mother, and my cousin was with her, my cousin Juanita, and Juanita and I about the same age, uh, and we were in the same grade. We started first grade together, and I remember we were getting ready to talking about starting first grade, and that's the earliest memory that I have of my childhood. We went to Tunstall Elementary School. The old school building is still standing, except for one side of it is sort of blown away from the weather. But that school building is there, located near Lebanon Baptist Church, and those were some good days, the school days. Uh, we would walk from the upper part of the county to school and walk back. Uh, we had a dog. The dog name was Jigs.
Jakes. Oh,
And Jigs would meet us at school every day. He'd
what
come.
when y'all would go home?
Yeah, he knew when school was going to get out.
Oh my, what a smart dog. Well, you know they smart anyway, but
So he would come to school and be waiting at the right beside the road to the entrance to the school, waiting to walk us back home. And I guess from there, the next most vivid memory I have, we moved into another house, a new house, and that was the current house, still standing, there by Lebanon Church. But I guess one big memory I have back then was when my father got his right hand cut off, and
Mm-hmm.
the corn picker machine that picks the corn, uh, the right hand, the machine got stuck, and he stuck his right hand in because he was right-handed to pull the corn stalks out, and the machine started to chew his hand up. So he reached in with the left hand to pull the right hand out. And the fact that he had his wedding ring on his ring finger, well, the ring got caught and pulled that finger off. So for the
Whoa.
rest of his life, he only had four fingers on the left hand, and he was right-handed. So,
Now
and
tell me
then
about that because I talked to your siblings. What year? And you got me thinking. How old was he when that accident happened? Do you recall at all?
I think that accident must have happened around, I'm 42, went to school 48. Should have been in the early 50s.
Okay, that
Should have
makes
been in
sense.
the early 50s
Yeah.
because shortly after that hand got cut off, we moved to the new house, and he got you've probably seen the movie with the hook in it. I can't
Uh-huh.
think of the name
Yeah.
of the movie, but he had a hook, and he could control that hook on the right hand by the movement of the arm. And he would scare us with that hook. When that thing opened up, we would be we would be scared to get back. And but we remember that when he first got it, it came in the mail, because back then everything came in
Wow.
the mail. If you got
I'm
something,
just I'm just
you
having
got
this vision.
if you got if you wanted chickens, the chickens came in the mail. You order them through the catalog, and the mailman brought the chickens, the baby
Hmm.
chickens. Then you raise the baby chickens in the house, and during the late winter and early spring, you would put them out, and they'll grow up during the summer to lay eggs and become chicken for Sunday, because we always had fried chicken on Sunday.
Oh, so that's where
That
that
was that was
started. I mean,
that's where the Sunday meal came from. But, but my father would he always had to have roast beef. So
hmm.
my mother, even whatever she cooked for Sunday, if she cooked fried chicken for Sunday, she had to have a roast beef for him, because he always wanted roast beef on Sunday. So she would have two meats on Sunday. Yeah,
Oh, that's okay. So he had to have his roast beef. It's like I gotta have my
yeah,
beef.
you
I
had to
don't
have
want
this
no
roast
chicken.
beef.
It's like I don't want no chicken. Well, those are
Yeah,
some great stories. You talked about the school, your dog, father with the hook coming in the mail, and being able to move into the new home. What this was, so just to clarify for our documentation, this was in New Kent County, correct?
yes, this was in New Kent. That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay. You also talked about the church, Lebanon Baptist Church. You mentioned that a couple of times. What was
Right.
the role of that church in your upbringing from the memories that you had? Was it a great role or not so much?
Well, one thing, we always went to church every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my mother made sure we went to church, and then my father, he didn't always go to church on Sunday, but during what they call homecoming week, the revival, and revival was in September, if I'm not mistaken. But that's when you had services throughout the week, every night. He would go to all of the revival services, and
Mm-hmm.
occasionally he would go to a Sunday service. But my mother made sure that we went to Sunday school and we went to the regular church service. And we only had church service on the second and fourth Sunday, twice a month. But Sunday school was every Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
and we all attended Sunday school.
It sounds, based on what you're saying about, attending church every Sunday, not missing a Sunday, especially when you had it on, second and fourth Sunday, attending Sunday school, all of that. It also appears the community itself there in Tunstall was quite tight knit. How would you describe the community, when you first started going to first grade and all of that? What was the community like?
The community was very close. I mean,
Mhm.
everybody looked out for everyone, and you knew everybody in the community. And if you were out playing somewhere at another one of your friends' house and you did something wrong, well, by the time you got home, your parents had already gotten the word.
Mm.
Okay, they got the word before you got home. So you had to be ready to explain yourself to, for justification for what you had done. But I want to back up to the church uh, part I was speaking of.
Oh yeah.
One of the fondest memories I have was of my grandmother, Grandma Laura Pemberton, where her house was there close by to us, and every Sunday she'd have to walk by our house to get to the church.
Hmm.
And she would go to Sunday school every Sunday, and then she'd walk back. And on her way back home, she was always stopped at our house to sit down and talk with my mother and talk with us. So I had real fond memories of my grandmother, Grandma Laura. And as I grew up and got into, I guess, into middle school and into high school, I would visit her every day. When I came home from school, I'd go over to her house, sit there and ask her if it was anything that she needed or anything that I could do for her. And especially in the wintertime, I would go out, I'd cut the wood, bring the wood in the house, put it in a little box by her stove in her bedroom,
Hmm.
and and then we'd just sit there and talk. And I was real close to her, yeah. And it is something that I don't see in my grandchildren, and I thought I could instill it in them, but they come around when they want to come around. But I made sure I saw my grandmother every day of the week.
You
Yeah.
know what? You just mentioned something so critical, speaking of your grandchildren and how fond you were of your grandmother. Do you think distance plays a role in, your grandchildren not being able, what has changed? Because a lot has definitely changed since you were a grandson and visiting your grandmother. I'm curious because it's
Well, I think the thing that has changed is the community part.
mm,
Okay. When people move and you move into a community or, or a neighborhood, I wouldn't say necessarily a community because it may not even be a community because uh, I envision a community as a group of people looking out for each other, helping each other, and so forth. But
mhm, mhm.
gotten distant by neighborhoods. So we move into a neighborhood, and half the time we don't even know who our neighbor is,
Mm,
who the person down the street is. Uh, someone new move in, move out. No one goes to greet the person when they move in. And say, "Hey, I'm Joe Brown. I was here. I'd like to welcome you to the neighborhood." That doesn't happen. I don't see it happening where I have lived.
hmm.
When I was in the military and lived in military housing, and I guess the thing there that was we had community.
Right,
And
right.
I think the reason we had community because we were all from different places. So the only thing that we had to hold on together was the fact that community. We all were in the
Hmm.
military. The
Hmm.
military was the connecting thread there, and that helped form the community. Because I know now my children, uh, they still remember get well, my dog here is jumping on my feet, so that's why the video is shaking a little bit.
She want to be part of the community. She's like, I hear all this talk about what's going on. I need to,
Yeah, she want to be a part of the community, but it's
yeah,
not
she
her time
like,
to
I
be
want to be
like
seen.
that. But our children, they still stay in touch with children that they grew up with
Hmm.
that have moved out on into different places. They're still friends with them because we shared that community and it built community within them. Okay.
Wow.
So there's more community, I would say, and I'm using the word community, there's more community in them, our children, through living with the children that were in the military in the
Mm-hmm.
different duty stations where I've been throughout the world as a family,
Right.
carried the family with me, than it has been with once they're grown and we're here and they're off living somewhere else. See? So that community is lost, I think.
Hmm. You just made me think about something else because as you're restating the word community, I never thought about it this way. Community literally means having something in common. Like you said, your children were able to establish that sense of community and kept in touch with their counterparts, their peers throughout life, much like growing up in Tunstall. Same thing. Just because you were a family didn't mean you have to be a community. You had something in common. You all had a commonality, visiting each other, going to the church, passing by, like your grandmother Laura, stopping by on her way home from church, visiting. That didn't have to be so, but because there was something in common, it needed to be there. And I think, wow, I never even thought about community in that way. Like it
Yeah.
just means sharing a common goal. So if it goes back to what you were saying, where the neighbors these days can move in, you know, they done moved out before you knew they moved in.
Yeah, and we haven't taken the time to
Mhm.
to form to form community.
Yes.
We haven't taken the time to form community because, well, for various reasons, I guess we're busy doing our own thing, and we look at people differently and say, well, I don't want to associate with that person or this
Because
person or
you think you
whatever.
don't have something in common, to use
Yeah,
that
we
word.
don't have that thing in common. That's the thing with community. And growing up, and I think one of the things that we had in common, we hear the term all the time that uh, was so and so, that family grew up in poverty. You know,
Hmm.
we were so poor that we didn't know we were poor.
Now
Okay?
that's poor.
That's poor. And we never went hungry. We never went without clothes. We never went with our shoes on our feet, or coat to wear in the wintertime, or
Hmm.
gloves to put on. We always had that stuff.
Right.
And and my father wasn't making big money because he was working on the farm. And back then he was making $7, $7 a week. He'd work all day for a dollar.
Woo!
He'd work all day for a dollar, you know,
My.
because he was working doing farm labor. And and minimum wage didn't apply to farm labor, just like it
Hmm.
doesn't apply to farm labor today. But we never wanted. My mother did a lot of canning, vegetables and fruits and things in the summertime, and canned them in the summertime. And throughout the winter, we always had vegetables to eat and fruits to eat. And today people want to see. Well, I want a ripe apple. I want a strawberry in December. But back when we were coming along, you didn't get a strawberry in December. You may have gotten a canned strawberry in December, but
Mm,
it was a strawberry. But now we want that fresh food, those fresh vegetables year round. You know, there's nothing wrong with that,
yeah, yeah.
but that's the lifestyle that we've gotten accustomed to.
Do you think, because see, I told you this was, we were just going to let this flow. Do you think the desire for this particular kind of more fast-paced lifestyle or wanting the strawberry in December just because I want strawberry shortcake, not because it's in season, do you think that mentality has led to the dismantling of community, or what or is there an association or not
I
between the
think
two
there,
ideas?
yeah, I think there's an association with that. Okay, number one, how do you get that strawberry or that peach in December when the growing season where you live, where I live, maybe the growing season may be from May through September. All
Mm-hmm.
right. But in December, I want a fresh peach. Well, that peach may have to come from California. It may have to come from Florida. So now you've got to have someone to come in to pick that peach in Florida or California. And that person that comes in to pick the peach, we really don't have much respect for that person that's picking the peach,
Hmm.
because we want the peach. You get me the peach. I don't care how you get me the peach, because I want a peach in December, and the only way I can get a peach in December is to get it from California.
Hmm.
Now, the only way the people in California can get enough peaches picked and grown is to get labor from a foreign country. All
Hmm.
right. So they bring in the labor from the foreign country to pick the peach in California. And once that person picked the peaches in California, you said, well, we don't need him anymore. We got our
Hmm.
peaches in December. Okay. So there's no community formed with those people that came in to pick the peaches. Okay.
Wow.
And and I think I don't I just don't see how we can continue, and we probably can, but I just don't see how we can continue to want, and for everything that we want, someone come up with a way to get it to us, to get that thing that we want. You know, our wants are exceeding our community. Now,
Hmm.
if we were, say, we were here and I knew that I couldn't get a peach from California in December, then I could cane that peach. I could eat a cane peach. I wouldn't
Right.
necessarily have to have a fresh peach. I'd have a peach. I could cane that peach during the summertime when it's grown here, and eat it in December or
Mm-hmm.
January. But our demand for wanting everything and wanting it right now is and I don't care how I get it. I don't care what you got to do to get it to me. You get it to me, and I don't care whether I'm forming in the community or any relationship with the person that's providing that item for me. Okay, I just want it.
Hmm. That is so, I don't know. This is just so, because I never even thought about a link between all of this stuff. And because, as we sit here and talk about the Pemberton family, we talk about the sense of community, we even look at, the future of our family. We have to me, we have to, we've been referencing fruit and planting seeds for us in order for generations beyond us who are coming beyond us to want to hold on to the family and the roots and not be separated. We have to plant those seeds, and we have to let them know the importance of developing the relationships and keeping the relationship strong, because that's another thing that I'm seeing. And I can ask you this too, because we've come to this point. You're the one who was the kind of the spearhead, the creator, the founder of our family reunion 20 years ago. What sparked that? What made you say we need to do a family reunion?
Well, the thing that sparked me with that is, I would say, the fallacy that I see with with people, the generations now, is
Mm-hmm.
uh, there is so much information out there that's made available to us. Okay. When I was coming along, and probably before I came along, that the information you got, it was passed down from your family members.
Mm-hmm.
So what you knew that you may have learned in school or didn't learn in school, your family, your elders in the family passed it down to you. But now there's so much out there, the internet, uh, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you name it all. You can go out there and find information on anything.
Mm-hmm.
And if I, the thing that really got me was, if I were to ask someone in the family, especially younger people than me, and said, well, how many brothers and sisters did Michael Jackson have? They could tell me every brother and sister that Michael
And what
Jackson
they
had,
did and
when
how many
Michael
this they
Jackson's
did.
birthday was, you know, and if they didn't know it, they pull out the little phone, the cell phone, and look it up. Okay. But if I said, all right, tell me the age of your Aunt Marion. Aunt
Mm.
Marion, who is she? you know, they, they, they
And
look
she
at,
been a lady coming over your house every Christmas.
yeah, yeah. I said, how about your cousin Logan up in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Who's he? How's he out? How did he become our cousin? Okay, we lose that, but
Yes.
we know everybody on in the entertainment world. We know every rap artist. We know every artist of any kind. We can tell you all about them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when they made their first million or whatever. And but if we want to talk about the family,
Mm-hmm.
we don't know it. So that was the driving thing behind me wanting to get the family to know people, to know the family, and know where we came from. Because I've heard that quote before that it said Martin Luther King quoted it or coined the phrase: "If you don't know where you came from, you'll never know where you're going." So I just think family is very important. to knowing your family, know your family roots, and what your family members have done. You know,
Yeah,
and a lot,
that's definitely a driving force for sure.
yeah, a lot of times we hear people say, "Well, that's the first time, that's the first black that ever did this, first black that ever done that." But look at your own family and see how many firsts of anything
Hmm.
in your family that you can see. Okay,
Hmm.
even right up from way back up until today. How
Right.
many
Right.
firsts? Okay, how many firsts can you see that say they went to college, they got a degree, they got a doctor's degree, a master's degree, bachelor's degree, or whatever? How many firsts in a family that did that? Okay, and as long as we keep looking at the first of everybody else, we'll never know the first of the people in our family. Because we got a lot of people in our family that did a lot of first stuff.
Hmm.
Okay. And it's not just necessarily the older folks. The young people like you know, done a lot of firsts. Like you branched out and got your own business. If you look at it from a family point of view, you got something that you started your business, and you didn't wait for Amazon to say, "Come on over and work for me, and we'll make you a good salary."
Right.
Because the saying goes, if you want to get rich, you'll never get rich working for someone. Now, if you work for yourself, you can get rich, but you'll never get rich working for somebody else. It's not going to happen. But you
Hmm.
hear people saying that, well, I want to get rich. I want to get rich. Then you got to think outside the box. Think outside the box of what you can do and what you want to do. Set your goals, and you can do anything anybody else can do. I mean, there's nothing special about the people that are doing these things on their own. They just have the drive and the
Hmm.
desire to do it, and they get out there and they do it. Yeah.
Tis true, tis true. You said a word right there. Cause I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about these first and how many of us, and I'm speaking across the board in various families, may not even know what our parents did. Or I'm not even talking about looking at your grandparents and great grandparents and generations back, not even acknowledging or being aware. And we family reunions are critical. And it's not even just
Yes.
the reunion
So
itself,
true.
because sometimes people think about the reunion as the event. No, it's like we have to do this year round.
Yeah, yeah, right. Exactly, exactly. So true. So true.
Yeah, cause let's revisit, because you mentioned your serving in the Navy. How long were you in the Navy, and what did you learn from being there? Because I know you already talked about living in different stations. How did you get how did you get involved? What made you be like, this is something I want to do, and I want to stay here too?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you a little bit. When I finished high school,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's similar to kids finishing high school today. They have no idea of what they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I knew one thing. I had an older brother that I looked up to, and I knew that he was my older brother, and he was in the Navy. And by the time I finished high school, he had been in the Navy for 4 years. So I said to myself, if the Navy is good enough for him to
Mhm.
stay in it for 4 years, it's good enough for me to join up.
Mm.
Okay. So I made a decision that I was going to join the Navy. Now, before I made that decision, and I don't know if John told you this when you interviewed him, John initially wanted to join the Air Force. All right. And he went down to sign up for the Air Force and couldn't get in the Air Force. So he joined the Navy. And I think the driving force that was driving him to the Air Force was our first cousin, Purcell Brown.
Mm.
Purcell, can you put this on pause?
Mm-hmm.
That's possible.
Yeah.